Hi there, this is Becca with Amazing Paper Grace, and I have a video today. Several of you asked how to make the tree box, and so I'm showing you here with a clear stamp. I'm able to get it out of 8.5 inch by 11 inch piece of paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stamp and I'm going to stamp it 4 times in a fan shape arrangement, and then I'm going to score in between them. So let's get started. I like to stamp on a soft surface with clear stamp so that I get a good impression. I'll ink this up and I'll speed it up a little bit so that you can get the gist of what I'm going to do. So I would stamp it the first time, and I take a little bit of time with stamping to make sure that I get the impression that I want. And there you go. It's close to the edge, and now I'll go through the other 3, and this is what you end up with. They're kind of in a fan shape arrangement, and now what I'll do is I'll score in between them. So I'll just take a ruler and a score tool. I'll speed this up so that it's not too boring to watch, but a little tip is that if you put a little indent at the places that you want to score, marking the top and bottom, then it's very easy to go back and do that quickly. It doesn't poke through to the back, but it is a light scoring that will show up when you fold the paper. So I'm also going to do this on the outside edges. This is where the flaps are going to go, and so I just score very close to the line on each of the piece of the pie. Now I've already trimmed my paper, and now I'm going to just fold it lightly. You can always go back and put this on, you can score it with your score pal to get deeper lines, but I just need to know where the edge of each of the pie pieces is so that I can eventually clip them. So I've just scored lightly, and now I can clip. I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to clip up to the edge line along with the scoring on each of the pie pieces. And these are going to form the flaps for the template. So I'm just going to quickly use my paper cutter to cut each flap. Now I've taken the guide out of mine. I don't recommend you do this. Do that at your own risk, but I just had to have it out of the way for just a moment. So very quickly I am cutting each flap, each of the 4 flaps. And so this is what you have. Now I need to go back and I'll cut a divot where each of the flaps is, and that's just to get rid of some of the bulk when you actually fold the template. That even applies to the outer corners. And so the next thing that we're going to do is I need to cut a side flap. And that's usually about 1/2 inch, and so I just line it up on the edge of my paper cutter, and one more trim, and then we're done. Now on this side of the template I have too much paper, so I could put it on the paper cutter, but I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to just snip a little bit of that off, because it would make it hard to close. And so there we have it. Now I have matched up a Spellbinders classic square that's going to fit exactly the end point of one of my pie pieces. I cut it doubly so that I could get the flap. And so what I'll do here is I'm going to trim off part of the double square that I cut, and then I'll snip each edge. Now just remember, when you do this with your die template, you're going to seat your paper almost to the fold, and that's how you're going to get two connected squares. So now I've cut it, and I'll be able to adhere it to the rest of the template. So I'm able to use that on any of the tabs that I want. So I've picked this second one, and I'm going to attach it with score tape. The only thing that you need to be aware of is when you fold your box, whichever piece is opposite your flap, you have to adhere down that extra flap piece, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm just going to take this and adhere it. And that makes for a nice and easy flap. And so then I'm going to measure out for the flap that I need to adhere down and just have a piece of tape ready. So now I can go ahead and see how this is going to look by doing a trial fold, and the flap opposite the flap that I made, I'm going to adhere down. So let's go ahead and put adhesive on that. And it just keeps it out of the way. So I'll go ahead and I'll fold that down. Now I need to take and I need to put adhesive along the side flap. So I can do that very easily. And just snip that off. And now we're basically ready to assemble. So I'll remove the liner and just fold my flap over and measure, align the edges carefully. And there we go. And so I fold the flaps in, and that's the basic box. Now the only thing remaining is that we need to make the base of the tree. And so just pick one of your scrap sheets of paper. You need a piece of paper that is 4.5 inches wide, and I will trim it to be 1.25 inches long. And so you're going to take that piece of paper and you'll take it to your scoreboard. And on your scoreboard, you're going to score in 4 equal markings at 1 inch each. And then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 3/4 inch. And the short edge of that piece, the short top part, is where I'm going to adhere tape for tabs to attach it to the top. So I'll go ahead with score tape, and I go ahead and I put my score tape on it before I do any more trimming to the flaps, so that I don't have to put tiny pieces of score tape on it. So there we go. Now you need to trim this piece. So just fold on each of the scorings and do a diagonal cut or a divot cut along every score line, and what you're going to end up with are your tabs for the base of the tree. So I have one more to do here, and don't forget the edges. There we go. So now I need to adhere on the side of that, because that's what's going to close up the bottom of the box. And so we're ready to assemble the bottom, or the base of the tree, by just adhering it together. And you can see that there are 4 tabs. And so we're ready to adhere them, so we can just pull off the tape now. And when you're putting this on, just take a minute to try to square it up as much as you can. And so it's ready to go on the bottom of the tree box. And just burnish that in with your fingers after you're able to get it in place. And if you need to, add an extra glue dot or 2 and close it. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed the box. They are pretty easy to make after you make one. And thanks for joining me. I will see you soon.